If I could have your attention here in the Media Center, we are now joined by Kasey Kahne, driver of the number 5 Great Clips Shark Week Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, coming in fresh off of his win at the Brickyard 400. What's this week been like for you following that big victory there in Indianapolis?
Yeah, it was a great week. It was really nice to, have a week after a win. It's been a while to do that, and first off, spending it with my team on Tuesday, we got together, and then to actually talk to all the guys that are, part of the 524 shop and part of Hendrick Motorsports that make our cars go. They're congratulating me, and I'm congratulating them. So it was neat because, we haven't pulled a lot of wins out of that shop in a while. So it was really cool to have those conversations, and HMS put some bricks on the floor, and we did everybody got to kiss the bricks in the shop that weren't actually at the racetrack. So it was just a neat week. Had a lot of fun and did some media stuff, TV, and also radio and things that I hadn't done a lot of lately. So it was good to be part of all that again.
Okay, we'll open the floor for questions. We'll start up front here with Joseph, then go to Kyle, then Zach.
Joseph Falcon, frontstretch.com. How much pressure are you putting on yourself to perform for the rest of the season after this win?
Well, I think it's all I ever think about is racing. All I ever want to do is perform. I want to win. I want to run up front. If we can't win on that day, I want to get the best result that we can. And so that's how I go into every weekend. We try to look at things leading into that week, and it was no different this week. We put a lot of time into Pocono and looked at Indy and tried to understand the things we did right at Indy. We unloaded there the second fastest car. We were 8th in final practice, and how the strategy worked in our advantage at the end and things like that. So we had to really understand and look at those things today. I think we unloaded 7th fastest, which was really good for us here. So I was, really happy with the way things have been going, and seem to be getting a little better. I think the communication and crew chief, trusting some of the things that I say, I think that helps, and that's something that we have to keep working on, and just having trust in each other, all of us, me having trust in them, and keep going faster each week. But it's all about running well, and it's no different this week than last week or the last 2 months. I go into them all just wanting to perform and run the best that we possibly can.
We'll go next to Kyle, then to Zach, and then the gentleman there on the right.
Kyle Magda with the Times leader. Kasey, your spotter Kevin Hamlin yesterday won with Justin Haley in the ARCA race. Have you seen Justin race at all? I know he's doing the truck race today. What have your overall impressions been of him if you've seen him race, and also the connection, racing for Todd Braun like he used to?
Yeah, I think, my spotters, Kevin's does a really good job, so he's up here. He's for every race, so he's part of every race. He's on the stand spotting for different drivers, and that was cool. Justin won yesterday. I know Justin a little bit. He's worked out with my trainer the first half of this year, and I know him a little bit from that. I've known Todd Braun for a long time and done some racing for him. So, yeah, it's cool. He's doing well, and he's young. Has a lot ahead of him. So that's good.
Zach?
Zach Sternillo, Pocono Record. Kasey, how was the car during these first 2 practice sessions, 22nd and 18th, throughout these early sessions here? Is there anything you feel like you guys need to improve before the race tomorrow?
Yeah, I thought, the first practice we were 7th early and didn't get any better, but we made a lot of adjustments and learned things that weren't working, didn't seem to work. So that was, everybody else went faster as the practice went. We didn't, so that's why we ended up there. And then this practice we didn't make a qualifying run. We just kept working on race stuff, which it's impound, so you tape up the front for qualifying tomorrow and drop the track bar, do some air pressure, and add a little wedge, things like that. So it's not like a normal qualifying session for tomorrow, and we have our teammates so we can look at some of that. Overall, I thought we made a 12-lap run right at the end, and it was in the ballpark. It wasn't the fastest, but it was pretty close, and I'm just struggling in turn 3. If we can fix turn 3, we'll have a really good day tomorrow.
Kasey, Keith Greller from the Morning Call. Kasey, your thoughts on the qualifying on the same day as the race? It's a different dynamic. It seems like this weekend's had a whole different feel to it. From a media perspective, how about from a driver perspective?
Yeah, much different feel. Last week did as well, and then next week at Watkins Glen, another 2-day race. So I think we're NASCAR and the teams are trying to understand if this will, work well in the tracks. How will this work for everybody and go from there. But this schedule this weekend, I think, is a nice schedule for the teams, and hopefully it works really well with qualifying in the morning, race in the afternoon. I like that. So it's just tough to say. We'll have to keep doing it and really understand it. But I like the impound. I like not having to put all that time into qualifying and then switch it back over for the teams. We only get about an hour and 40 minutes, hour and 45 minutes of practice, something like that. So to not have to mess with that 30 minutes of changes, it gives us more practice time for both. So I like this schedule this weekend the best so far of the 2-day stuff. And but it depends what everybody likes, and there's a lot of people that are looking at this and trying to understand, if it makes sense for the future.
We'll go next to Campbell, then to Bob, then to Dan, then to Christian.
Kasey Campbell Donovan. After that win last week, how you prepare for this race and each race keep going towards the playoffs?
Yeah, I think one thing about this track and Indianapolis, there's some of the corners are somewhat similar. The long straightaways are similar and a little bit flatter corners. So we took, some of the things that we did with the car last week and tried to reapply them this week. And a lot of the car was set up last week from, some races early in the season that I thought we were more competitive as. So did Keith, and that's why he went that direction. I feel like our car was pretty decent at the end of practice today. We still need to be better, but it was pretty decent, and just keep working on it. It's all the tracks, tires, surfaces are so much different these days that there's a lot of tools that we have to hopefully make the car ride and drive it the right way, and those are everything that we're working on. But yeah, there's a little bit of similarities from Indy, so maybe that'll work out well for us.
Okay, next we'll go to Bob, Dan, Christian, then Nick.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. I assume the uncertainty about next year is still there, but does the win maybe help decrease some of the angst about the future?
Yeah, for me, I think, I think for sure. I think the win was awesome. I mean, the win the Brickyard, to win at Indianapolis was great for me as a driver, something I've always wanted to do, always dreamed of racing at that track, let alone winning at it. And so I think it's really good. It's good for our team as well, and our future. I mean, who knows? But yeah, definitely good for our future.
Dan?
Dan Gelson, Associated Press. Bob sort of took my question, but how unsettling has it been this season to hear your team owner come out last week and say that the plans aren't set for the 5 next year? And the second part is, what would you say have been the biggest factors to why it took so long for you to win? Again, what's kind of happened?
I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. The whole winning thing is, for one, it's not easy. The last 9 races have been 9 different winners, so that shows the competition, the competitiveness of all the teams and drivers. And it took us a long time for everything to work out. I mean, we didn't have the fastest car on Sunday, but we had a really good car, and our strategy worked out perfect. I mean, usually our strategy doesn't work. That strategy worked, so we ended up in victory lane. I mean, there's things that it's tough. I mean, it's not an easy series to win in, and everybody wanted to win and wants to win each week. So when you get some of those guys up front and are really, really good, you gotta, how do you beat them and things. So a lot of that relies on the driver, a lot of it relies on the team, and then the setups. Having the car handle the way that you need it to as a driver is the only way you're gonna ever go fast and the only way you're gonna ever win races. And that's something that we are constantly working on, and I'm constantly pushing to try to figure out little things. Like, I'm lacking here, I need this, I need this, I need this, and if we don't fix it, then we don't go fast, and so that's something I think that my guys and Keith, we just have to keep working and listening to me. I'm the only one that can tell them what I need. So if they can fix those things, I think we can go really fast each week. Yeah, I didn't hear that till I got home, but I pretty much knew it prior, so it's kind of not a lot you can do. You just, like I've always said, I'm signed up there through 18. It's up to him what I do, next year or the rest of this year. I want to race, and I love racing. There's a lot of people at Hendrick Motorsports that I enjoy and like working with and things. So, tough to say how it all works out, but I love racing, so hopefully I can win a lot more before it's done.
Okay, we'll go Christian, then to Nick, and then we'll wrap up here with Scott.
Christian Coley, I'm pitroad.com. First of all, congrats on the win last week. My question for you is, we've had a lot more aggressive driving, especially last weekend at Indianapolis. With a win now, you've got to feel a little bit more confident going into the remainder of the year and then into the playoffs. But do you feel like the aggressive driving we've been seeing lately is more of a count that more winners are winning and we're losing spots in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think, the whole playoff deal is set off wins. So, if you can win, we're 20, I don't know what I was in points last week, 20th or 22nd, somewhere in there. I know if I can win, I have a great shot of making the playoffs. I haven't been fast enough all year to be in the playoffs, but if I can win, I can. And that goes all the way down the line to everybody that's in that race that day. And, everybody realizes that. So you're going to have, plus it was Indy, plus, it was late in the race, and if I can do one thing right here, I get a chance to win. There's so many things that go through a driver's head, and so it was interesting. It was wild. And I don't see that really changing at tracks where there's restarts late in the race. It's everybody has to go for it and will go for it the rest of the season. Even once we get into the playoffs and the playoffs are set, you're still going to have that because winning a cup race is not easy, and if you can, it feels great for everybody involved.
Nick DeGroot, Motorsport.com. Kasey, coming in here with a win, does it change your mindset or the way you and the team approach these races leading up to the playoffs?
Yeah, I feel like it has to. I feel like it has to. Kind of the thing I always go back to is like believing in each other. Me believe more in them and them believe more in me and what I'm saying and also that I can do it, and I believe that they can do it and give me the car that I want if I give them the right feedback, the right information. So, yeah, I think that's what it all relies on is communication and then having the right strategy. That's also a big part of it. But, yeah, I think that confidence and momentum gives us all probably a better mindset and a better understanding and gives us each one of us confidence that I am doing this correctly and I am looking at it correctly. We just have to do it together.
Scott?
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times-Tribune. Kasey, you alluded to it a little earlier, the similarities between Indy and Pocono. What are maybe some of the similarities between the two tracks? And it's kind of interesting, even with those similarities, that I think only two drivers have ever won Indy and Pocono in the same season.
Yeah, I just look at the long straightaways. I look at the tunnel turn and turn 3 being, pretty flat. The tunnel turn would be more like a turn 2 and a turn 4 at Indy. They're not the same. They're far from it. But there's more similarity between them than Texas and the tunnel turn, So I just feel like there are the speed and the flatness of the track, and then 2 of the 3 corners are, kind of somewhat similar. And some of the racing is similar because of the long straightaways and the draft and things. Makes restarts a big part of it. But turn 1 is his own racetrack, turn 1. And if anything, it feels more like a 1.5 or 2 mile track in a lot of ways. So, yeah, I like turn 1 a lot. I think turn 1's probably my favorite corner here. And then the tunnel and turn 3 is the most difficult corner. Tunnel turns just, I don't know, it's its own corner. But, yeah, turn 1's really cool, and turn 3's really difficult.
Kasey, thanks for taking the time to join us today. I'm going to get you to your team debrief. Tell Keith we said hi,
Okay.
and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.